Post-production purposes, hitting that intro in a 3, a 2, a 1.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Jose here at the First Round by Podcast, accompanied by my boy, Mr. Sauce.
That's right. What is going on, one and all? Crack one open with us. Grab your favorite beverage of choice and strap in for RIPAROOSKIES.
Number 8.
Number 9.
RIPAROOSKIEs. So we're going to do a little bit something different here. We're going to talk a little bit of college football.
What?
We're going to talk about...
I guess I'll see you guys later.
Some of the topics we're going to hit on is we're going to talk about the whole DEION Sanders tweet fest. We're going to talk
was his
about... Shadur?
I thought you just said dirt.
We're gonna talk about
I'm struggling with
college
this.
Football implementing the helmet communication, and we're also gonna talk about the 2-minute warning going to the college football
2
as well.
minutes.
But to start things off here, I thought this was pretty juicy. So there's been a few things, a little bit of drama coming out of the Buffalo Bills, coming out of the Colorado Buffs. So a former player who hit the transfer portal by the name of Xavier Smith tweeted, "I was actually getting mad, like tears coming to my eyes because, bro, you never even tried to get to know me," followed by a tweet that said he was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves. The way he did it, it could have been done with a little more compassion.
Yikes.
And then pretty much DEION Sanders was pretty much, from what I've been reading, is he encouraged dude to hit the transfer portal.
Yes.
And a lot of people are chiming in on Twitter, or X, I should say, and, you know, just giving him a bunch of shit, talking shit, how he went about the situation. Obviously, we don't know exactly to a T what happened behind closed doors, but from what we know so far, what do you think about this situation?
So, man, I've been reading some comments on it ever since this came out and everything, and
Wait, and there's a little bit more juice, too. So then I guess Shadur Sanders came on X later on and was like, bro must have been mid at best. So I get he's defending his pops and, you know, trying to defend the Buffs.
Wait, did he say that,
staff.
Did he say that before or after DEION came? Because I think that DEION came and defended Shadur, right?
So I'm pretty sure Shadur said that after Smith said that about DEION and their coaching staff and the whole Buffs organization. I
did see that he said something about, my kid's going to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, so I have that right here. So someone tweeted to DEION and said, "Tell your son to quit acting like he's the coldest out here, then put up a 4-8 season."
Oof.
They did start off last year pretty high after beating TCU. And then
they had a pretty mid-season.
Yeah, that's facts. They had a pretty terrible season to end the year. And then DEION replied with, "He will be a top 5 pick. Where your son going? LOL, I got time today."
Dang, man. That's just like, man, that's a powder keg right there.
A what?
Like it's ready to blow.
A powder keg?
A powder keg. Jesus. How do you not know any of these?
Bro, like every freaking episode that we have.
You learned something new.
I learned something new from you.
What was
we can have like a compilation of shit that you say.
Because I basically sound like a boomer.
RIPAROOSKIES
indeed.
But anyway.
Yeah, no, for one, I don't like this whole situation. It is just, for one, this new generation, and using terms like mid, and using terms like you ain't cold or whatever the hell they're saying. Like, it's so cringe. It's so cringe. But here's the thing. That Buffs team, they're not good. Like, so I guess they went from like a 1-win team,
like a 1-win team the
to
previous
a 4
year to a 1-4. But to be fair too, though, I'm not gonna say it's not all about the wins, because to an extent it kind of is, especially in football, college football.
But they played like trash.
But DEION Sanders has literally changed the culture over in Boulder.
He has,
and he's brought in so much money.
That's probably the main thing, is that he's brought a lot of money.
Right. But I don't know. I feel like this year they're going to be a whole lot more successful. They've been hitting the transfer portal like crazy. They've been getting O-line to protect Mr. Sanders.
They're going to need a lot more, because I just don't see. Have you watched him play?
Sanders?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Well, Maybe so. I've only watched probably I could say even less than a handful of games that he's played in. Uh, Part of the reason why is because obviously they are the most hyped team in all of college football. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but literally they are on TV all the time whenever they're playing, and part of it is just because of Coach Prime and everything. But every time I've watched them, man, they've done okay, but they are not setting the world on fire.
Yeah, I think they got blown out by Oregon, which I mean I don't blame
Oh
them.
yeah.
I mean, there was freaking Bo
Well,
Nix.
and for them to sit there and say that Shadir's going to be a top 5 pick, man, I don't know. For some reason, I don't see that. It's hard for me to see that, especially after watching them play and everything. He doesn't really have much of a, like, he's got an okay arm, but he doesn't have the best arm. He doesn't have the best decision making. He doesn't have the best decision making. Although I will say that one of the more exciting college football games that I watched was whenever they went up against USC.
No, dude, the game they played against Colorado State.
That one was pretty
I think
good
that game went up to it was like 1:00 in the morning, and they were still playing. I think they ended up squeaking out.
Yeah, they ended up winning.
But that game was crazy. Travis Hunter went out in that game. He got hit by one of their corners and knocked him out the game. And then,
What was crazy too is that they were sitting there talking a lot of shit.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why everybody was wanting to watch it, because I personally thought I was like, man, Colorado's just gonna blow them out, and then they ended up going to like triple or quadruple overtime.
I think it was like triple overtime or some shit. I can't remember.
I was just like, man. But yeah, no, I get the mentality and everything, and I guess since I'd never played football at that level.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't understand like how they're talking. I mean, Coach Prime is also he probably like demands excellence out of them and everything. So, but at the same time, I think it's a really, really bad look.
Yeah, I think as like a head coach, man, you got to stay in your lane. And you know, if players or ex-players, excuse me, I got to burp. If players or ex-players want to talk, let them talk. You know, as a coach, you kind of just need to keep it professional. I know Coach Prime loves social media, and he kind of like loves attention. But at the same time, it's like with things like that, you just got to stay out of it. It kind of gives not only does it give you, but it also gives the program a bad look. For Sanders, I mean, like I said, I don't
think he gives a shit.
He's setting up for his pops, which I can't blame the guy, but I don't know, kind of like calling other players mid, which I mean he may or may not have been. But I feel like that kind of gives other players that want to possibly go into that program reasons to not go to the program.
Oh yeah,
just because they don't want to be involved with a whole bunch of drama and all that kind of jazz. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said,
he's pretty young too, isn't he?
Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be about 22, maybe 21. I mean, you know, they're in college, of course. But with that being said, I wanted to kind of segue into a different topic. I kind of want to talk about the new helmet rule that they're implementing in college football. So it says here on Google, the helmet communication rule applies only to schools at the FBS level, but it is not a requirement. Additionally, one team may employ helmet technology even if its opponent elects otherwise. Coaches will be allowed to communicate with one player identified by a green dot on the back of their helmet on the field. So that's kind of similar to what they do in the NFL, which I think it's pretty cool. It kind of gives the players
a little bit more responsibility.
And it gets them ready for the NFL, especially like the quarterback play, right?
Right.
Or unless you have somebody on that defense, but I feel like more than likely they're going to give that responsibility to the quarterback.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. I do think that it's going to give a little bit of added responsibility and everything to it. And I mean, honestly, at this point, there's a lot of players that could use the development for whenever they do go or attempt to go to the NFL level, because a lot of times, a lot of these players that you see, like there hasn't been as much translation from the college football level to the professional level. It's really hard to succeed at that next level anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So I do think that that's going to give a bit of a competitive advantage too. Because didn't you say just now that it was just the like the higher FBS teams or whatever?
It says here the helmet communication rule applies only to schools at the FBS level.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I get it, but it's like if you're not going to do it for everybody, that's that's kind of I mean, unless it's just something new that they're rolling out that they want to see how it goes.
Yeah.
I could see that being okay, but if they aren't going to eventually like implement it for those that aren't at that other level, then it almost gives it's a competitive advantage to teams that already are going to have an advantage.
Well, if you think about it too, it might also work as a disadvantage if you're an away team. So let's just say you roll into one of these hostile environments, like you go play at you know, I don't know what the hell Alabama's home field is called, but let's just say they go to Alabama, Georgia, one of these like prolific teams, stadiums, or Penn State or like Tennessee. I think they have like pretty loud crowds. So if you have a quarterback that has this helmet system and their crowds are literally yelling at the top of their lungs and you can't even hear a damn thing that, you know, what's going on the field, like that can literally like mess up the quarterback's play. So then they're gonna have to start relying on like the signages, like how we used to do it, like, you know, with signs and sign language and all the good stuff. So you got to tread it carefully because it's not gonna work to your favor at all times. And then of course it's technology, and technology tends to, you know, be corrupt sometimes. So
very much
it'll be interesting.
It's gonna definitely be a very interesting thing. I don't mind it, but like I said, I think it's gonna be super interesting to see it in action too. Just because I always like seeing things that are at the professional level incorporated at the lower level, and I mean same thing at the college level being incorporated into the NFL level and stuff. So kind of like the 2-minute warning.
Yeah. So with the 2-minute warning, they're also
they're assholes.
They're also implementing the 2-minute warning at the end of each half, just like the NFL does.
Did they not do that before?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's been a while since I've like literally just sat down and just watched college football. I know that there are some differences and stuff, but I guess I never really noticed that they didn't have a 2-minute warning.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting, man, and they're kind of really following like the same rules as the NFL, which I kind of like because, like I said earlier, it kind of gives like the college athletes to kind of get acclimated to the NFL level. But yeah, I think that's pretty exciting for college football.
Oh yeah, it's gonna definitely be interesting. And like I just said, I do like whenever they start incorporating different things and stuff. One thing that I'd like to see them incorporate too is for like an inbound catch, like instead of just because in college they just do the 1 foot, right? I would love to see that get switched over to 2 feet down, but. And honestly, I don't even know why they wouldn't do that already.
You think? I kind of like how it is now because, I mean, obviously the professionals is the professionals. NFL's NFL. But I feel like like in college, like you kind of got to give them some slack a little bit.
Well, and I can see the other side of the argument too because I guess with me being a primarily NFL fan and stuff, I'm always looking for stuff that's very similar to the college level that's going to help the college level get up to the NFL level. But realistically, a lot of these players, they're not, I mean, unfortunately, they're not going to get to that level at any point. So it definitely would help them a little bit more if the rules were more favored toward how they already know.
Right.
You know, so because just like I said, not everybody's going to be able to make it to that level.
Right.
But I do think like I said, it's always interesting. I love seeing change. I know we've talked about it before, but I enjoy seeing change. I think I like to try to embrace it. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But it's always cool to kind of see it in action,
right,
and stuff. So all that stuff's going to be implemented this year.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay.
And even more exciting. So the playoffs. Ever since it started in college football, it's been a 14 playoff format ever since I want to say 2014 or 2015. I don't remember to a T. But like I said, it's been a 14 playoff race. This year, or this coming year, is going to be the first time they move her to a 12-team playoff format. 12-team playoff format.
Golly.
Wait, is it 12 or is it 8? Keep them busy.
I have no idea because I don't ever check college football and stuff. I do like I've liked the 4-team, but I do think that it should be at least be expanded to 8 teams because I think that just makes it more exciting and more fun. But I don't know how I'd feel about 12 teams.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be 12. It says here, the College Football Playoff has announced it will debut the new 5+7 model. included the 5 highest ranked conference champions plus the next 7 highest ranked
Wow.
at-large teams as chosen by the College Football Playoff Select Committee.
Interesting.
So it'll indeed play.
Man, that should be a good change though.
Yo, that'd be awesome because there's always like those
outliers.
like those this team should have made it over this team. I know last year was big controversy over Texas,
Florida State,
Georgia, and Florida State.
Yep.
You couldn't, in my opinion, you couldn't really go wrong by putting one above the other. But the way that it happened was the way that it happened. There was so many different variables that played into that, which I like the way it played out just because the Longhorns made the playoffs. Of course. But I feel like this coming up year is going to be really interesting.
That should be good. I like that because, like I said, I think that my biggest issue with it before is just that with it being just 4 teams, it makes it really, really, really tough on the committee.
Yeah.
And everything because it's still a committee that decides it, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Is it still going to be a committee that decides it? Okay.
Well, it's going to be the conference champion, the Power 5.
Gotcha.
And then the next best 7.
Interesting. That's going to be fun. That's going to bring a lot of competition to it.
Right.
And you could see some underdogs hopping in there.
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot.
But that's going to be it for today's episode. Appreciate you guys' support. If you haven't already, go check out our episode that dropped on Sunday. And then we will have another episode that drops on Friday. So thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys' love and support.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys Friday.
Peace.